Hi guys, this is Nu-Trix the Synth Guy, and today I'm talking about the Circuit Mono Station from Novation. Now, you know from the other videos that I did about the Circuit, which is an amazing piece of gear, portable sequencer for four different drum sounds or samples you can play, and two Nova synth from Novation. Really powerful little package, portable and all that, so it's really a cool thing. I wanted to keep it, and a week ago Novation called me and said, okay, we want it back because it's our demo, you can't keep that one. So, well, I want to, and I didn't even finish the sentence. I said, okay, what else do you want? So we'll send you something else. So I said, okay, let's try the Circuit Mono Station and the Peak. So that's going to be coming in a few weeks. I haven't even turned it on yet, so I'm just looking at it for now. I'm learning this beast here. The Peak is coming in a couple of weeks. So right now, let's talk about the Circuit Mono Station. First of all, if you know about the Circuit, the sequencer part is basically the same logic. It's not exactly the same because it's not the same machine. In this case, you only play one synth. So by default, you guess, well, I only have one sequencer. No, actually three sequencers. The reason is this is a paraphonic synth, and I talked about it in another video. The link should be somewhere if you want to know what paraphonic means. But basically, you have a sequencer to control oscillator 1, another sequencer to control oscillator 2, and you have a third sequencer, which is a motion control sequencer. So, meaning you could still play the first sequence, but have a motion control, modify the frequency, or whatever you want modify in the synth. All the synth parameters can be recorded in the sequencer and modified. So that's really cool. This video today, I won't go too much into the sequencer. I'll talk about it a little bit, but I will talk mostly about the synthesis. So today's video is about the synthesis of the Circuit Mono Station. Next video, I'll talk about the sequencer. But right now, this is what we're going to talk about. So the Circuit Mono Station is announced as being like the Base Station 2, which I own. And when we look at it, it's not the same. It's the same family, same type of objects or parts if you want. You have two oscillators. You can choose between different values. I'll bring you closer so you can actually see what I'm doing, okay? Okay, so we have the Novation Circuit Mono Station in front of us, and we're going to talk about the synthesis part of it. But the first thing that is really cool about the synthesis engine here is that, first of all, it's analog. It's controlled by a digital system, of course, because the sequencer is a digital system. And every aspect of the synth has LED information. So at a quick glance, you see what's happening on screen. And if you turn the light off, you can see, just even in the darkness, you can see what is actually active. Like the volume here for the mixer, you see the two sounds that's the volume. If you bring the volume down, the green light goes down also. So it gives you a very good visual feedback telling you what's happening in it. You see the speed of the LFO here, you see the speed of the tempo here. So visually, it's really well laid out, and the logic of the information is super easy to grasp. You know here that these are the different filter shapes, and this is how much distortion you have, or very little distortion, and it goes to very light. So the color information, the light information is really efficient. Let's go back to here so we actually see something. So for the oscillator 1, you can actually, and 2, they're the same. So you can change depending on which one you click, 1 or 2. 1 is purple and the 2 is green. And you have, for each of them, you can select the pitch, select the waveform. You've got sine wave, triangular, sawtooth, and square. And the square as pulse width modulation if you want, and this will appear over here in the modulation matrix. Yeah, coarse tune and fine tune, this is really good. Then you get into the mixer. You got volume, oscillator 1 and 2. You got a sub oscillator that you have it here. Actually, let's play. Okay, so I just have a simple pattern that I just created, so that when I'm talking about a sound, I can actually modify it and you hear it in real time. So if I go back here, I got oscillator 1, oscillator 2. They're in dual mode. You play the two at the same time. slightly detune, and then I'm gonna have my sub. I have the noise. Audio in, so you can actually sense something in it. That's really cool, like the base station. And then you get a ring modulation. And if you so that's for the ring modulation. So let's go back to I got my two sound, my two oscillators. Now I've got my low pass filter here, the choice of low pass, band pass, and high pass. I've got resonance. The resonance, you get the low pass, is it a 12? Actually, low pass, band pass, or high pass, is it a 12 dB per octave or a 24 dB per octave slope? So do you want it to sound more like a Moog or more like an Oberheim, basically? And you're breaking down the resonance for now. Actually, keep it in the middle. You've got the frequency cutoff point, and this is something interesting. You can actually bypass the filter for the noise or the oscillator too. So if I press play here, and I bring it down, all the sounds are being filtered. Okay. If I turn this one on, then the noise is not. So the oscillator 1 and 2 are filtered without the noise. If I go here, oscillator 2 is not. Oscillator 2 now goes straight to the amplifier. And if I go to the two of them, noise and oscillator 2 are not filtered anymore. Or you go back to nothing is lit, so everything goes into the filter. Because remember that all this, the mixer out, goes into the one single filter. You have distortion before the cutoff point, so you can create a lot of harmonics. Okay, and after it's gone through the filter, you can go through distortion again. You get 3 types of distortion. It can become really, really nasty and distorted, but it's really cool. I mean, it sounds like a really powerful synth for that. Then you go into the section on the top here, which is mostly LFO envelope, so modulation. And then you decide here where it's going to go to. So you've got the modulation matrix. You can select the source here, so envelope. Envelope can be sent to different one. In this case, it's sent to filter, and you assign the amount here. So let's say I'm going to give some. You can also go, let's say, LFO here. LFO, I'm going to send the LFO to the distortion. Or instead of this, I'm going to send it to the amplifier. The other way around. So on this side is going to be inversed. So I'm going to close the envelope, or in this side, I'm going to open up. Okay, whatever. We can sync it also. So you can send envelope, LFO, sequence, or velocity. So velocity, the notes are velocity sensitive. Let's go back here. So you can go velocity here. I'm going to say the velocity goes into, I don't know, filter. So I'm going to close the filter. And the sequencer records velocity also. You have one LFO, one envelope, but the matrix is very powerful because the way you can assign it is really fun. But if you say I want another LFO, well, then you don't have one. And that's where the sequence becomes really interesting. The sequence here means there's a mod sequence in the sequencer. And if you go into mod sequence, then you have a sequence for parameters. So let's say you want to record the sequence. You're going to say, first I'm going to have this value, then I'm going to have this value, and when I get to this next one, I'm going to close it, turn it a little bit on, and this, and that's going to be it. So you see the value here changing. So that's the different points. So where do we want to assign it? Let's assign it to filter, but the other way around. Close it. Erase that. So here, right now, I only have the modulation sequence being sent to filter. That's it. There's also something here you can see, Aux CV. Well, the Aux CV is actually linked to what you have at the back here. You have MIDI true out and in, clock out, clock in, note CV out, gate CV out, and auxiliary CV. So aux CV would be a CV out that you send to another device to control something else, you know, in a modular fashion. And this would be the amount you send to something else. So you could say my modulation sequence could control another rack somewhere else. Pretty interesting. Just for fun, I'll play you some of the design patches and sequence that they have. Listen to the evolution of this thing. You get the body here, and we get modulation here. So that's the sequence that you have here. If I go like this, close. That's pretty cool. Another example. even kick and snare. I just love that sound. I mean, it sounds good. It has that presence, you know. Sounds good. Not touching anything. I can hear a whole song starting with this easily. Oh, this is, for me, this is surprising. Look, listen to the massive sound you have here. Now keep in mind that there's no effects. I mean, outside of distortion, there's no delay. So they use the LFO for the effect of chopping up the sound like it's a delay. And because you've got these two oscillators being triggered separately, you're having like a melody of two sounds, like a bass and a lead. And then the distortion and the resonance and the filter. I just love that presence. And this is just the box, there's nothing else, you know, it's the output that you hear directly. So very efficient. That's it. That's the synthesis engine of the Circuit Mono Station. So pretty fun, pretty, you know, pretty powerful, and it sounds massive. You know, it's a mono synth, but it sounds huge. And the fact that it's paraphonic with two sequencers, this makes me feel like it's like the Today TB303. I know, people will say it's not a 303. It's not. But when you think about the 303 when it came out, it was a piece of gear that, well, first of all, was not a hit when it came out, but it's a cool little sequencer that has its own quirk with a cool little sound generator, which is a simple sound generator, but everything is the attitude, the signal, and the signature of the sound of the filter. In this case, you have also a really cool attitude in this synth. It sounds massive, it can be very powerful, very noisy and dirty, and at the same time it can be very subtle and nice. And the fact that you have two sequencers to control two oscillators separately, it's really powerful. So the package is a real cool one. I think that if I didn't have already the base station, I probably would buy this instead. Even if it's not as powerful synth-wise as the base station, it's still very powerful because of the sequencer and how you can control this fairly simple synth. It can create massively powerful sound. So it is still a very cool piece of gear to have. I don't know if I'm going to keep it. I'm really thinking about how, if I keep it, what else has to go? Because you know my logic. I can't just add up stuff. I need to get rid of some other things. So if you like what I'm doing, thumb up. If you have any comments, write them down. If you have questions, write them down. If you do any type of music with the Novation Circuit Mono Station, put a link so we can go in and listen to what you're doing, okay? That's it, guys. Follow me on my different online presences, and see you next time. Cheers.